In today's video, I'm going to be interviewing Jill Moore, who runs Moore2Life. She is a naturalist and she takes people on guided tours to learn everything about the South Carolina Lowcountry, the nature, the trees, the birds, the wildlife, and she makes it fun and interesting. So if that's something that you're interested in, stay tuned because we're getting after it right now. Jill, thank you so much for jumping on camera with me. I appreciate it so much. And for you guys at home, I've known Jill a long time. She used to come to my gym back in the gym days, and we just kind of crossed paths again here recently. But Jill has a company called Moore2Life, and the website is Moore2LifeSC.com. And you take people on these nature tours. You do like one-day events, you do multiple day events, you do private things, you do group things. You go to all these gorgeous locations throughout the South Carolina Lowcountry. Before this happened, tell us, who were you before you came up with this idea? Like, what was life like before Moore2Life?
Right. I moved here in 2008, after having my third son in Dreary, Illinois.
Okay.
And when we came here, I was just blown away by this low country. And I was actually an elementary special ed teacher.
Okay.
So my background is in education, and I like to say that teachers can do anything. And so I immediately enrolled in the Low Country Master Naturalist courses. And at the time, it was a pilot program for teachers for free. So for 2 years, immersed myself in all of this and learned all the bugs and the plants and the trees. And then from there, it just kind of evolved. I was offered a position as the naturalist at Oldfield, which is another private community. So I went from being a teacher to becoming a private naturalist for a private community, and did that for 6 years.
And so when you were at Oldfield, what was that like? You were taking people on kayak trips, you were showing them, taking them around.
It did start out that way. I was filled in, I stepped in after another naturalist. The joke was that they were really looking for that gray bearded man, and that was kind of their image of a naturalist, and now they had this younger elementary teacher. So I really had to prove myself. I did a lot of nature things, but then started to what I call teacher it up and make something that could have been easy a lot more involved. And we became actually the first Audubon International Sustainable Community.
That's awesome.
And we were the first private residential community in the country to become that. And so then with that, learning about stormwater and all of that. So there was a desk portion, but it was about getting them outdoors. And that's when I really started to realize just what a difference it made to people when they got that opportunity. So it wasn't that they didn't already live in a beautiful place, but just having somebody say, hey, you're getting together with your neighbors and your friends, and providing that opportunity made a big difference.
Cool.
So yeah.
All right, so Jill, let's talk about that light bulb moment, okay? So after you worked at Oldfield, there was a moment where you decided you're gonna turn this into a business and you're gonna start sharing this love of the low country beauty and nature and wildlife. You're gonna share it with other people and you're gonna turn it into a business. How did that happen?
Well, kind of like a lot of people, a big life event called the pandemic.
Okay.
So during this time, I had been the naturalist at Oldfield for about 6 years. And while I was there, I always had this feeling that there's just more to life than providing this opportunity for people in one place. And so instead of being a naturalist for a private residential community, I want to do this for everyone. The educator in me was bursting to come out and just share this with all ages and interests. And so now we have a pandemic and things are feeling different. We have more time, but people are also discovering the outdoors, but they don't really know what they're exploring. And so the timing of it was perfect to just take a leap of faith for my own confidence that I could do this. And I remember the moment driving along in the truck with my husband and just being like, if I say this, it could become real. But I have this idea and this company, and I think I should start a nature company and call it Moore to Life and just see where it goes. And
Moore is your last name.
And Moore is my last name.
So it's a little play on words.
It is. So yeah, we just kind of started, and we've had to pivot a lot, figuring out who's my market audience. Plus I am a teacher and nature person. So when it comes to finances and business aspect of things, that's where I need a little assistance.
One thing that you said that really kind of like made a bell go off in my head is you're sort of like bringing this to everyone. Because Oldfield is a gorgeous community, but people are paying $1 million or more to live in there, and they're paying at least $12,000, $13,000 a year to live in that community. So like you had that available to people, but they had to have means to get into a neighborhood like that.
Yeah.
And so really now it doesn't matter what neighborhood you live in, it doesn't matter your income level, it doesn't matter anything. You're gonna get to tap into your experience and really be able to appreciate that. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
It is. It's very rewarding.
So Jill, when you were setting up this business and this concept and this plan, what kind of challenges did you have? I mean, everybody, when they start a new business, they gotta get a website, start a business. I mean, and you're in a business where, I mean, you could come up against weather and nature and wild animals and stuff. So what was the struggle like when you were putting the pieces together?
Yeah, I think dealing with that, the nature aspects of it, I could figure out pretty easily. I think it was the business aspect of things of just, I have to say, if you sat and thought about all you would have to do to start a business, you would never do it.
That's right.
You just have to start, and it all falls into place. And I can't stress enough, like I joked with you, I have 3 boys and they all have really good girlfriends that are tech savvy. And so you just use the people around you and really lean on and get support from them. Because I will say, website, things like that, you can figure it out. But you also want to put your best representation forward, and you don't want to put something out there until it does look good, and it can evolve. But so I did have that level of being kind of a perfectionist, because I really wanted it to look like as professional as I felt like what I could offer. But from there, handling finances, knowing what to charge, and just how do I get myself out there, because I am offering what is really a unique thing that I think even now no one's doing what I do. Yeah. But how do I let people know that I'm doing it? If my market's not on social media or they're not opening their emails, now what? How do you put yourself out there?
Yep.
So
I think that's something that every business owner goes through in the beginning.
When you don't have a storefront, and so. Yeah.
Well, they say a journey of 1,000,000 miles starts with one step. So you took the step and you're doing great. And this is such a beautiful area. And so I know you go to, not to jump off topic, but you go to so many beautiful locations. I mean, you go to the beach, you go out here to Pinckney Island, you go down to Georgia, you go to a lot of different places. And you said that this is the area when you bring the kids, you let them just run around like wild crabs on the salt marsh.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's awesome.
And adults too, though. I mean, so right along the salt edge, there are little things that you can eat. There are all kinds of things out here. And so I think even, it's perfect for kids. You saw we barely walked at all. And this is an area where you could let kids be so safely just running free. But we also encourage the adults to just, harness your inner child and come out here and play and discover in here. And often I still am out there and I've got the adults lined up here, but then, they'll gradually kind of walk with me, and that's all part of what I do too. It's not just about teaching them what the trees and the wildlife are. It's really about going a little deeper.
So like in this particular location where we're standing, I don't want you to give away all your secrets because I want the folks watching this from New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, California.
So true,
I want them to actually come and experience this with you. But give me just one thing. If we were standing here, what's one thing that you see here that I'm not seeing?
Okay. So if somebody just dropped us in right here,
Yeah.
we would immediately know, or I would know, and you'll know, that this, when I'm looking out, is only going to come underwater twice a month. So you may not realize that, but I'm looking at this pile of sticks, which we call rack. I'm looking at the habitat, all those little bumps out there are little crabs that only want to be underwater a couple times a month. And so then if we were to walk further down, we would come to an area that's underwater twice a day versus twice a month. But just by the vegetation and what I'm seeing here habitat-wise, I would know that.
That's awesome. So when you were starting this whole thing up, I know me, when I started my YouTube channel, I went through some internal battles. Like, you know, my wife, I was like, I'm 40 some years old and I'm starting a YouTube channel about real estate in the Lowcountry. And she's like, you're doing what? And, you know, I was really embarrassed to be talking on camera. I thought I sounded stupid, and, you know, but over 3 years, it's become real to me.
Yeah.
And so what kind of things did you have going on in your own head? Like, did you ever fight with your own head? Like, am I making the right decision?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's almost a level of respect that I had because I was an elementary teacher, and now I'm in this profession with people that have degrees in this and that spent time going to college for it. And so I had to kind of get past that and realize what I'm offering is the everyday person view of this, and I don't have to know the botanical name for things, and I think people appreciate that. But getting yourself to that level and not feeling like the whole imposter syndrome, and then just respecting that, you know, and saying to people, I am not an Audubon birder. I'm not going to stand under a tree for 30 minutes trying to find the little brown bird. If you want that, then I can point you to a bunch of other people. But if you just want to come out and experience nature and learn, you know, the basics, then I'm your 101 girl. That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, and I can tell you've got the enthusiasm for it, and you've got the people skills for it, you know, because there's a lot of naturalists that they belong in a laboratory or something, and you offer sort of that concierge service, you know?
Exactly.
And you make it fun.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. I will never stand and talk for more than 5 minutes in one spot about anything, and that's my elementary special ed background. But also, you know, you read the crowd, and there are people that really want to go deeper, and I can do that. But there's also the people that just kind of want to walk and be out in nature. So we provide all of that. And
I think I would be the one that would be like, Jill, explain this to me like I'm a third grader.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I can do that.
So now that you've been running this business, you've kind of become a new person, I would think. So how has this business and this experience changed you as a person? How's it affected your quality of life?
You know, when people say to carry out your passion and do what you love, it won't feel like work. It's so true. I mean, this is my surroundings. This is my everyday office.
It's got a terrible view in your office here.
Yeah. So I think just one, the way you feel when you're out in nature, being an educator, you know, at birth, I just was always meant to teach, and I'm able to take nature now and teach people things, so it's rewarding. And just getting to see what nature does to other people and how it affects them. So I'm calmer. I've always felt like, you know, being busy and striving was what made you successful, and there's certainly part of that, owning your own business. You have to be pretty organized and work hard, but there is a balance, and just being able to be out in nature and just kind of tune into the rhythm of nature, really, you know, like we're going into the fall season and things are going dormant, and this is the time to tune into that, and then spring will be a new start and we'll come up with new ideas and new events, and yeah, so you're just kind of tuning into that and letting nature really be my guide.
It's like a metaphor for life.
It is. There's more to life than not being outdoors.
So this location we're standing on here, just a little sneak peek without giving away all the goods.
Absolutely.
What are we looking at out here?
Oh my gosh. So we're at Pinckney Island, which is a national wildlife refuge, and there's just no shortage of places here in the Lowcountry. So this is one of our most popular places to visit because you have every habitat.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at now is what makes up half of our area, which is the salt marsh. And then out this way is a tidal creek. So all of our waterways are fingers of the ocean.
Yeah.
And so this is intercoastal. It's taking you to the ocean, and we have this beautiful fall view. So this is our fall. We don't get the change of season with our leaves, but we get it with our salt marsh. So.
And we've got all this is Spartina grass in here?
It is. So Spartina grass, and going along with what we were just talking about and following nature, this is dying back. And this is going to completely go dormant and then regenerate in the spring. And the new spring growth is going to come up and push the dead stuff up and out, and that's what we're seeing here. And then this looks like it's nothing, but without this, this is the base of our food chain. This is what's feeding everything in our waterway. So this is what I do, like just talk about interconnectedness. Everything in nature is interconnected. We're all interconnected.
And from what I understand, the South Carolina Lowcountry is the largest home to this like Spartina grass habitat, which is a basis for the ecosystem.
Half of our state is salt marsh, and half of that salt marsh is here in the Port Royal Sound.
And largest area of salt marsh in the entire world, from what I understand.
I could maybe, yeah.
I don't know.
We'll just go with I've heard or I've read. That way we're covered.
All right, that's cool. I've heard and I've read.
That's right.
All right.
You didn't hear it from me.
So Jill, of all the people that you've taken out on these nature experiences, is there like a story or a case study or somebody that you can remember that it's kind of changed them in some way?
I mean, it's actually hard to nail it down to one person. I do have somebody that just immediately came to mind, but I'll say when I get the reviews and the comments, it's always, we just had no idea. And when people are out here, they just feel so much more at peace. And so there was a time, especially right around the pandemic, where we had a lot of Northeasterners coming here that weren't as in tune to nature. They live in the city and it's just a different life. And I had one guy out on a nature walk where we were just immersed in all the sounds of the salt marsh. And he was just like, kind of just stopped. And I actually was worried that something was wrong. Like I didn't know why he had stopped. And he's like, I just have to stop a minute. I'm just this guy from Brooklyn, That's not his accent, of course. And that is like never left the city. And here I am. He's like, I've never felt this sense of peace. And I just was like covered in goosebumps, even talking about it. I just get goosebumps because if you aren't exposed to this and your life is city life, you just don't know what this peace can feel like. Yeah. And so being able to provide that for people is really special.
That's awesome.
All right, so we can't talk about all that I do and more to life without at least talking about some of the nature. And I try not to get too woo-woo with people, but we do provide like beach discovery walks, and I do think there's an element of nature and just the spirituality that brings that out in people. And so one of the things I point out, like behind us right here, is a live oak. And you might look at this tree and not even realize that's a live oak. And so when we think about South Carolina, the quintessential southern landscape is the live oak, and we think about the tree-lined paths and these big rerooting angel oaks, which we refer to them as. And those live oaks tell a story. They've had a chance to branch out and be protected. But when we look at the live oak like this, these guys have been exposed to everything Mother Nature has thrown at them. So they are tough and wiry and just been exposed to what we call salt pruning. And so I just pointed out to people, conditions that we're exposed to definitely affect how we end up and how our lives are. So I use the live oak to explain that, because they can really look different and tell a story.
Do you want to know everything there is to know about the South Carolina Lowcountry, whether it's Bluffton, Beaufort, Hilton Head Island, or Jasper County? Then subscribe below and tap that bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know every time we put out a new video. My name is David Simcox, host of this channel and a local real estate agent. I get calls and emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move here, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 3 days, 3 months, or even 3 years, give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text, or you can always book a Zoom call by going to lowcountrylifestylesteam.com. Now let's jump right back into the video. All right, so Jill, if people go to your website, and the website is Moore2LifeSC.com, like M-O-O, oh, More to Life 2, I'm sorry.
With the number 2, yeah.
Yeah, number 2, Moore2Life.com. More, sorry, we'll edit that. Moore2LifeSC.com. I got it right that time.
SC for South Carolina, because somebody in North Carolina already had like an insurance agency called More to Life.
Okay, so if they go to that website, they're going to see everything that you offer. And so give me a high-level overview. What's everything that you offer to folks?
I guess the term that we're kind of leaning towards lately is a concierge nature company. So when you go on our website, I want individual that's wanting to provide something either for their private community or just family in town visiting to see what we offer. And that can be a 2-hour trip to any of our local preserves and wildlife areas, and beach discovery walks are super popular. People have no idea what's on that beach until we bring them there, and it's so much fun. So we've got the beach walks, we have nature preserve walk. Then we have half-day things that are just a little bit further but still can be done in a day. So we go towards Charleston or into Savannah, like Skidaway, in Charleston area, Caw. People are like, oh, I drive past that billboard all the time, but unless somebody takes them there, they don't experience it. And then we offer full day trips. So we've added Jekyll Island, Congaree, Cumberland, and those can also be overnight. So I provide the hotels and all of the tours, and this is all personalized. So you call us, we create the perfect itinerary for you, whether it's for 5 people or 20 people. And it's so much fun. We have that for adults, but that can also be tailored to any age group. And on there you'll also see what we do for kids. So being elementary background, my colleague Molly and I are both former educators. So we do children's programs, and that's called What's Wild. So we work with homeschool, we work with the public schools and private schools, and then just any kind of group. So What's Wild is getting kids out in nature. We have a kind of a place-based education philosophy where we're tying in history and nature and math and science and art into every lesson that we do. Okay, so, and then it looked like you have a calendar. You've got some pre-planned things. Yeah, so we do. We have our calendar, and we'll put More to Life events out. So every month we'll try to do at least 2 or 3 where we're offering to people to get out and join us for something. But we have to recognize the area that we live in. And we have private gated communities, and that's unusual for other parts of the country. So with that, you kind of create your business model. And so within every private community, there's a nature club, a men's club, a women's club, and so those are also who we can offer this to. And it seems like people want to do what their neighbors and their peers are doing, and so we tend to have more success with that than when we just put our own event out. Certainly it's a way for us to promote what we do. But all right, so last follow-up question on that. Let's say this person watching this video right now, let's say they're coming in town and they've got 1 day here and they have to pick one thing and they call you. What would be the must-do experience with you? So the one thing I didn't mention that's on our website is a boat tour. I think getting out on the water and what you can experience, because I can share everything about the Lowcountry from the water. There's just something about experiencing it from a boat, and I have local captains in Hilton Head, Bluffton, and Beaufort that I work with, and it's just such a magical experience. So I would highly recommend a boat tour, not just any boat tour, one with a naturalist on board. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I think there's really you're not going to go wrong doing anything, but I think a boat tour would be my... All right, so last question, and this one is a little deep, but you know, that's just who I am. I'm kind of cheesy in some ways. But when people are out in nature and they get, you know, immersed in nature on a regular basis, whether it's here in the South Carolina Lowcountry or anywhere for that matter, do you feel like that makes them a better parent,
a better spouse, a better employer, a better employee, a better person?
Absolutely. I mean, it's why I do what I do, really. It is so important, and I don't think we get enough of it anymore, you know,
Yeah.
whether it's just busy lives or kids just feeling the freedom and safety to be out and doing things on their own. But the differences that we see of just valuing that time outside, and now I think after COVID, there's actually research being done where, you know, your heart rate drops and people are feeling physical benefits, but it's really hard to measure emotional benefits.
Yeah.
But you can feel it and you can see it.
I can feel it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is a true thing and so important. And it's not only about taking time for yourself, but just this is where we're meant to be, you know, not inside
This
of
is
an
our
air
natural
condition.
habitat.
It is.
That's
And
awesome.
that's, yeah, not all classrooms have 4 walls, and, you know, this is, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Definitely.
so much
Thank
for taking your time
you.
today.
Absolutely.
And thank you for your friendship. And I hope you guys will reach out to Jill, and I promise it won't be a disappointment. It'll be incredible.
Thanks so much. Thanks for
Absolutely.
having me.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you so much for staying till the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed meeting Jill. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about what makes the South Carolina Lowcountry so special. Again, if I can help you find your own Lowcountry lifestyle, give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text, or you can always book a Zoom call by going to lowcountrylifestylesteam.com. As always, I look forward to meeting you in person at some point, but if not, I will at least see you on the next video.